Hello, I'm Colin Green, and you are listening to Spike Pit. How are you doing, folks? Summer is here, and I hope you're making the most of it. Beautiful weather today in England, where I'm recording. School is out. It's great to be alive. Really busy. Got quite a bit to talk about. How much of that is role playing or role playing adjacent? I don't really know. Now, I say school is out, and it's been an exciting time. I finally finished my first year as an early career teacher. Thoroughly enjoyed it. All the cliches of how rewarding teaching can be have proved accurate, and it is tiring. So I'm enjoying the break, but the club at school goes from strength to strength, and that has been awesome to watch. Great to see these kids getting into the hobby, and like I say, I've been taking a bit of a back seat and feeding them stuff and little snippets of information. Dice, got a couple of starter sets, got the D&D Essentials box set, as well as two of the old starter sets for them. Sorted out some paper stand-up mini type stuff, maps, adventures, various bits and bobs. And what has helped me and encouraged me to do this is a generous donation from a buddy of mine and a listener to this show and a friend of the community. I'm not going to name names. They've asked to remain anonymous, but a big thanks to that awesome supporter, and it's much appreciated. The librarian is over the moon with progress. I've said before, there's quite a bunch of kids of all sorts and personalities. It's just it's hard to describe. You got to be there, but we're all gamers. I think most listeners are going to understand that kind of the enthusiasm that is evident around youngsters first coming into the hobby and experiencing the wonderful hobby that RPGs are for the first time. Sometimes I feel like when we switch out to a new system, we capture some of that newness, and I want to talk a little bit about new systems. I've been gaming using a laptop recently, and I've been trying to kind of slim down my stuff. I talk about this all the time, but I've been having a little bit more success with using PDFs, and having got my collection quite radically reduced, I thought, well, now might be the time to pick up a couple of things. And I've done this through DriveThruRPG, just picking up PDFs. I've got most recently Dragonbane, Pirate Borg, and finally got myself Monster of the Week. It's the second edition, and it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing for me to pick up PDFs because they're just not as exciting as books, and these books are lovely artifacts, and the ones I've mentioned there, I'm sure they are. I mean, Monster of the Week in a hardback version from Evil Hat. I think it's Evil Hat. Have I got that right? Then we've got Free League with Dragonbane and Pirate Borg. You just know those guys are going to put out a nice book. But I've held fast. Maybe if I get them to the table and they're getting a lot of play, I could justify picking them up. But for my initial exploration, what's suiting me is the way that I can manipulate PDFs. I take a lot of content, put them onto slides, and use Google Slides, and I can come up with a melding of different tables, and bring scenario and rules and encounters, and kind of blend it all together in a kind of a package that I can use at a table running off a laptop. And I enjoy that kind of what I want to call kind of digital flexibility, if you like, and a theme that I come back to time and time again is this theme of layering and creativity. It's sort of come through my whole podcasting back catalogue, really, this idea of maps and images and sounds. And as I get a little bit more proficient with my technology, I'm putting in like links. I've set up a Google Classroom for my players, so I run it like a class. In my day-to-day work, I find this helps me to kind of fine-tune all my skills on keeping this kind of continuity between my hobbies and my work, because like a lot of this stuff is all fairly new to me, and to help embed my methods and methodology, getting it used and into practice helps it become second nature. So it's exciting. So I'm reading these new rules, getting into some new systems, and I've gone back to playing a session once a week online with Kev, the Dungeon Muser, having a whale of a time. Nice setup. I've always had a little bit of problem of being cooped up indoors on a computer, and having a laptop and discovering it's actually quite easy just to join a game and sit outside on my patio in the sun, and I'm getting the best of both worlds. I'm getting to catch up with old buddies and gaming friends from the other side of the world, more or less, effectively. There's no other way I can do it. If I don't do the online gaming, I'm never really going to get to socialise with these folks. And and the summer's not passing me by. I'm outside, and I'm not conflicted. So that's awesome. Had an amazing game of Forbidden Lands, which I've been wanting to play for absolutely ages. We've got another session coming up, and the first session was great. It's had an amazing response on YouTube. Loads of people have been checking it out, using the Bitter Reach campaign, or Bitter Reaches. I'm not too sure now. Great game. My old buddy, it was good to game again with Carl Rodriguez. The GMologist presents is his podcast, and he talks a little bit more about that session on there. So I'm not going to go over it in great detail, but it just, for me, first session of a game, I don't think I've been so impressed in living memory with a first impression. A first play created such a great impression. And I've also been playing in Warhammer fantasy roleplay game. I've played 2 sessions of that, also with the Dungeon Muser, playing a character called Morella Brandywine. Morella Brandywine. I don't know. But anyway, the reason I'm forgetting is because we're going to start with some fresh characters, and I'm going to go for a totally random character. There's a interesting random generation system in Warhammer, and I'm looking forward to giving that a go. Kev is going to turn it into an event, a whole session of character creation, and you can rely on the old Muser to do a good job. And hopefully I won't end up with another halfling. I've been playing a lot of halflings recently. I'm not playing a halfling in Forbidden Lands, however. I'm actually playing a spellcaster, and that is something pretty new for me. I rarely play spellcasters because I feel like I lack a little bit of confidence. With a new system, I like to keep things simple, manageable. Spellcasters are rarely the best way of doing that, I find. I normally kind of go towards a spellcaster when I'm looking to raise my game a little bit, and it's a system I like and I want to delve more into it. That's when I tend to pick a spellcaster. Now, Pirate Borg's an Mortborg didn't really catch my attention. It seemed like many other games, and I didn't have too much of a reason to get into that. Pirate Borg ties in with what I'm trying to do with ICRPG, this kind of pirate theme, and it's got it's just got loads of really neat stuff in there, loads of flavour. If you want to run, I believe it's the Dark Caribbean setting, you've got that. It's got all the kind of like little quirky tables to help you kind of come up with some pirate type stuff. It's just a really creative and not overblown product. I don't know, there's something about it I really quite like. I mean, it's still fairly early. I've read through it, but I haven't like fully engaged with it. I want to get it to the table and play it. But it's got that part of the thing about the setting I like as well, is that alternate history that always captures my mind. So I've talked about the historical angle and my interest in history, and this is another one of those sort of projects where I kind of maybe kill two birds with one stone, scratch a historical itch whilst doing a bit of role playing, whilst getting into this pirate theme. I've done a bit of research, I've watched some documentaries, I'll probably read some stuff and immerse myself further. It's even got some sort of naval combat rules in there, so get to explore that, and that's something I've been wanting to do as well. So really it was a no-brainer. It's ticking so many of these boxes that I couldn't ignore it, and I'll keep you posted on how I get along with that one. In other news, I've been away. I've had a bit of a rest. I've had a kind of digital detox, as it were. Went off on holiday with a family and decided I was just going to switch my phone off for 11 days and not look at it. I took a Kindle with me to get some reading done, so if you want to count that as digital, yeah, you can, but I feel they're kind of quite different. It just means I don't have to lug a load of books around. And I've talked before how I enjoy reading on the Kindle, the weight of it and everything else, and the flexibility that it provides. And the more I use it, the more I like it. I've read some sort of like some stuff by a guy called Zig Ziglar. See You at the Top. He's probably an almost contentious character, kind of quite conservative, sort of old school. Really, I feel like some of his opinions might be seen as a bit out of date and controversial nowadays, but that doesn't stop me from picking out some of some of his wisdom. And I think it's quite a well-known book. See You at the Top, recommended by someone who I've got a lot of time for, Seth Godin, who I listen to and I read his stuff. Really enjoyed that book. Got me thinking about quite a few things. It got me thinking enough that I decided to jump on the wagon, pack up drinking. So we'll see how that goes. I'm about 5 days in so far. It's fine, not missing it. Hopefully I can keep that up. There's financial benefits, health benefits. I'm hoping I can get some clearer thought. Who knows? I've packed up one time before for a year, then went back to it, and every now and then I just feel like I'm not getting anything from it. Might as well see if I can make a few changes. Also, I managed to get some weight off, and I've been feeling healthier for some exercise, so I'm going to continue with that with a little bit more of an organised approach. Hopefully by packing up the drink, that will save me a little bit on the calories as well. And reading. One of the things I like about Kindle is the fact you can try them samples, and I've looked at Make Room, which was the inspiration for Soylent Greens. That looks really good, so I think I'm going to pick that up and read that. The Handmaid's Tale, read the sample for that, and that's, I mean, there's been quite a lot of noise about that, and I think they made a film and TV series. I've not seen any of that. From what I've read of the book, it's kind of got my interest, and it seems quite different. So that might be something. But I'm always a little bit torn with fiction and non-fiction. I'm not really seeking escapism. I'm really looking to kind of grow and learn stuff as much as I can. And you can definitely do that in fiction. I think if you pick carefully, and you get some poignant stuff. I read, was it Arthur, King of Britain, or something like that? Michael Morpurgo. Now this is really designed to be read by young adults, but saw a copy of it in a charity shop, picked it up. Thought, Arthurian legend. I don't know that much about it, and damn, it's pretty sad. It's like the whole story of Arthur and his court, and the tale is quite tragic. I guess I kind of knew that, but at the same time I didn't. That was an interesting read, and I finished Seeing Things, the story of Oliver Postgate and a company called Small Films. I've talked about this before, but they're the creators of Bagpuss, The Clangers, Ivor the Engine, some great childhood nostalgic stuff. So listening and reading that book was quite inspiring, and I kind of imagined it would be mostly about his work and his creations, and a lot of it is really about his life, and it's quite. Yeah, that's quite an emotional book to read, where he's talking about his family and people and loss, and the relationship with his parents, and then his illness, losing his wife, and it's pretty heavy stuff. I was reading it on holiday, and a few times I was kind of like, welling up a little bit and getting a lump in your throat. It's quite hard hitting, and you think, is this really what I want to be reading? Is this really what I want to be reading on holiday? But yeah, it is what it is. The other thing I wanted to mention briefly is the fact that it's RPG a Day month, and I wanted to wish all my fellow RPGers, podcasters, players, GMs, whatever, all those folks getting involved with it, I want to wish them the best of luck. I've been hearing various offerings from the folks I listen to normally. I've got to confess, guys, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to respond to it at the moment. The chances are I'm going to come up with something, but inspiration hasn't struck me yet. But enjoying the offerings, keep up the good work, and all the best to you guys. And that, as they say, is a wrap. Big thanks goes out to you, the listener, for taking a bit of time out of your day to listen to Old Spike Pit. Take care, and I'll catch you later.